Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Sylvimak Makeover, and today I bring you another beautiful bridal makeup tutorial on a dark skin. I've come to realize that some dark girls don't appreciate their dark skin. Do you know why I said that? Because I've worked on so many beautiful dark skin girls, and at the end of the day they want their face to be lighter. That's quite funny because I know some persons don't like using the perfect dark skin shade of foundation on their dark model or bride or client. I don't know why they do that, but trust me, it's not good. Even if your client does not like how dark her face is, especially when she's a dark skin person, you should be the one to encourage them and tell them that dark, like when you do your makeup and it matches your skin, your exact skin shade, it makes everything look very beautiful. So let's get straight into this video. I cleansed her face. I moisturized her face with my Cetaphil face moisturizer. Then I dried it up. For primer, I am using my Gentle Dove mattifying primer to prime her T-zone area. So after primer, I hydrated her skin again and allowed it to dry before moving on to foundation. For foundation, I'm using my Sylvimak foundation. I'm going to be leaving this shade in my description box. So I used my foundation to apply it all over her face. Then I sprayed the face again for easy blending. Then I went on using my beauty sponge to blend the foundation all over her face. So if you're a dark skin, I advise you use a shade that matches your skin color. If you don't want to look light on your face and your whole body is looking dark, trust me, a lot of girls want their face to be looking lighter than their body, and it doesn't really make sense. So make sure you get a foundation that is your exact skin color. So after blending the foundation into the skin, I'm going to be locking it up with the same Kiss Beauty Fix Spray. This would help the foundation not to move. Then I let it dry. Moving on to contour, I'm going to be using my Avour foundation in the shade 035 to contour her face. Like, this shade is one or two shades darker than her skin, but I didn't really want to apply too much. I just applied very little. So after contouring, I'm going to be applying blush. So I'm going to be using this palette from Zaron. This is my lip palette. So I'm taking that shade there and applied it above her contour. Then I added this orange shade just to make it pop, and a little bit on the tip of her nose. So to blend, I use the other side of the beauty sponge to blend the blush. So moving on to highlight, I'm going to be using my Avour concealer in the shade 030 to highlight her face. Then next, I'm going to be using my beauty sponge to blend the concealer on the highlighted area. So I added a little concealer on the areas underneath her eyes and a little bit on the tip of her nose because I want the highlight to really pop. So to contour her nose, I'm going to be using the same shade of foundation I used in contouring her face to contour her nose. Then I blended it using my beauty sponge. So next is to set the concealer on the highlighted area. So I'm using my Merak setting powder in the shade Cinnamon. Before setting, I went back using the beauty sponge to blend the areas underneath her eyes to avoid creasing. Then I used my beauty sponge to set. While you're setting, you need to be light-handed, like I always say in my videos. take it one step at a time. If you pack too much setting powder, you will end up having patches and you won't like the results. So one step at a time. So to set the rest of her face, I'm going to be using this powder. To do that, I'm going to be listing the name in my description box. So make sure you set properly and blend very well. So for dry contouring, I'm going to be using these two shades from my Adventure Oil Control Powder palette to set the cream contour I applied earlier. So next I'm going to be using these two shades from the same palette to contour the nose. Then I went back using my powder brush to blend everything together. So after blending, I went back using my setting spray to spray the face to reduce the brightness on the face. Then I dried it up using my fan. Next I'm going to be baking. I'm using the same setting powder I used to set her face, to bake her face. So I went back using my contour brush to blend everything on the contour area so that everything will look good and well blended. Moving on to the brows, I'm going to be using my spoolie brush to brush her brows first. Then I went ahead using my brow time to lay the hair nicely. So to outline her brows, I'm going to be using my Carrot gel liner and my angled brush to draw the outline following the shape of her brows. So next I'm going to be highlighting the brows with this same concealer I used to highlight her face. So next I blended the concealer using my blending brush. To highlight the top of her brows, I used the foundation I used on her face to highlight the top of her brows. I prefer to use her skin shade to highlight the top of the brows, because most of the time if you use foundation or concealer that is lighter than her skin to highlight the top of the brows, it will look messy, and if you don't blend very well you won't like the outcome. So next I went back to blend the areas underneath her brows before I went on setting the concealer. So to set the concealer, I'm going to be using this shade from the same powder palette to set the concealer underneath her brows. So moving on to eyeshadow, before you apply any eyeshadow, you need to prime the lid. So I'm using my viange eyeshadow base to prime her lid. Why you need to prime is because it would help your eyeshadow to pop. You need to like prime the lid. It helps in eyeshadow application. Then I added a little setting powder underneath her eyes to avoid fallout from the eyes. So after that, I started with my eyeshadow. I'm going to be using this shade from this eyeshadow palette. I can't remember the name of this eyeshadow palette because it's been a while I bought it. So I applied the eyeshadow on the outer corner of her lid, then blended it towards the inner corner of her lid. So next I'm going to be using this shade from my focallure eyeshadow palette. I'm just gonna use it to blend out this eyeshadow and give it a little bit of color. Then I went back with that eyeshadow brush I used in applying the first eyeshadow to blend everything together to avoid any harsh lines. So next I'm going to be using this dark brown from my Blossom eyeshadow palette to contour her eyes. Then I blended it using my eyeshadow blending brush. So next I'm going to be using this shade from my House of Tara Amina eyeshadow palette. I'm just applying this shade on the inner corner of her lid. The next thing I did was to add this golden color. So I went ahead using this golden color from my Beach Wave eyeshadow palette because the other one I applied wasn't popping, so I had to add extra so that it will make the eyeshadow to pop very well. Then after this I went back using my eyeshadow blending brush to blend. So next thing I did, I added some setting powder on the outer corner of her lid to further define the eyeshadow. So I added some golden glitters on her lid on the areas I applied the golden eyeshadow. So I just added these glitters just to make the eyelid pop. So I went back with that first eyeshadow. I went to apply more on the inner corner of her lid because I want the eyeshadow to pop as well as the glitters. So next I used this brush to dust out the excess fallout from the eyes. After that, I used my carrot gel liner and my angled brush to line her upper and lower lash line. So next I'm going to be using my Zaron mascara to prep her natural lashes and also give it volume. Moving on to blush, I'm going to be using my House of Tara blush palette. So I'm just taking that shade there and apply it on her cheeks. So next I'm going to be wearing her these lashes from chi lashes. So next I went back using my powder brush to blend everything together. Then I used this brush to blend everything. I went ahead using my gel liner to line her upper lash line so that everything will look sharp and pop. So next I'm going to be setting the face with my Kiss Beauty Fix Spray. Then next I let it dry properly into the skin, so I used my fan to dry it up. After drying it, I went ahead to add some highlighter on her face. I used my Maivels glow dust to add some highlight on her face. So I'm not gonna be adding so much highlight. I just added a little just to make it the face glow and shine a little. So next I used my fingers to press the natural lashes and the false lashes together. Moving on to the lip, I'm going to be using this dark brown from my Blossom lip palette to outline her lip. So next I'm going to be using this nude shade to brighten up the lip. So I added some gloss on her lip using my classic lip gloss. So next I'm going to be using my Mismetic cheek glaze on the areas I want the glow to pop. So I'm just applying it using my beauty sponge. So next I use this blending brush to apply a little highlighter on her brow bone area and a little bit on the tip of her nose. So next I'm going to be setting the face with my Kiss Beauty Fix Spray. After setting it, I dried it up using my fan. Like, you have to let it dry properly, let it dry and dry into the skin. So after drying, I forgot I was supposed to do her mascara, so I applied some mascara on her lower lashes. So now the face has dried properly. I'm going to be sealing the makeup with my Soap Pro Seal Spray. This will also help the makeup to last very long. This is very important. If you don't have it, try and get it because it helps. It really helps. After sealing it, I still have to use the fan, to melt everything into the skin. And this is the final look, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. And this is my beautiful melanin bride. Love you guys. Bye.